Somewhere on YouTube, like right at this very second, there's a guy frantically typing out track titles in the dark.
Just completely isolated.
Yeah, exactly. He's uploaded over 60 electronic dance tracks in just the last 14 days.
Which is a staggering amount of output.
It really is.
Uh,
And, some of them are these punchy 3-minute radio cuts, but then some of them are these sprawling, hypnotic 14-minute epics.
Right.
He's pouring hours of his life, his computing power, his creative energy into exporting these files and just pushing them out into the digital ether.
And the craziest part is nobody is listening.
Almost absolutely no one. So today we're taking you on a deep dive into what astronomers would probably call the dark matter of the internet.
I love that term for this.
Right. Because when we think of the internet, we usually look at the bright stars, the viral hits, the massive influencers, the algorithms that drive millions of eyeballs to just one single video.
But that's not the whole universe.
Not even close. The vast, overwhelming mass of the internet is actually completely invisible. It's content that is relentlessly and honestly passionately produced, but never seen.
Yeah, the stuff hiding in the shadows.
Exactly. So today's deep dive is an investigation into a raw data dump from a single, practically invisible YouTube channel. It belongs to a creator named İİŞÇİ, operating under the handle at ingilizce.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yes. Because what looks like a dry spreadsheet of view counts and timestamps is actually this really profound psychological mystery.
It really is. What's fascinating here is how this single channel forces us, it forces you and me to completely reevaluate the modern definition of a content creator.
Right, because we have this set idea of what a creator is.
Exactly. We spend so much time studying the mechanics of virality, right? Analyzing thumbnail optimization, dissecting audience retention graphs.
Oh, yeah, everyone is obsessed with the metrics.
We have this massive blind spot. We just assume that the promise of an audience is the only valid catalyst for creation. Why else would you make something? But the data we are looking at today completely shatters that assumption. It strips away all that transactional nature of the modern web.
Yeah, and it leaves us looking at this raw, unfiltered human compulsion to simply leave a mark.
Just to exist out loud.
Right, and to really grasp the scale of that compulsion, we need to look at the baseline numbers for this channel.
The numbers are wild.
They are. The profile of this channel reads like a total contradiction. Erkin has exactly 2 subscribers.
Just 2 people.
2. Yet the channel houses an incredibly robust library of 92 videos.
It's an unbelievable ratio.
When I first saw that data, the image that immediately came to my mind was stumbling upon a fully stocked, meticulously organized record store. But it's sitting entirely alone in the middle of a vast desert where absolutely nobody lives.
That is a perfect visualization.
You walk through the doors, the floors are swept, the shelves are perfectly categorized, the neon open sign is buzzing in the window.
But you're 100 miles from civilization.
Exactly. The population of the town is literally 2, and yet the owner is standing behind the counter, diligently unboxing new vinyl and stocking those shelves every single morning.
Just completely undeterred by the empty room.
Right. He doesn't care that no one is walking in.
The desert record store analogy really highlights the divergence between extrinsic and intrinsic motivation.
Explain that a bit more for everyone.
Well, for the last decade, the platform economy has conditioned us to view creation as a strict transaction. You invest time making a video to extract a view.
Right, you put a coin in, you get a prize out.
Exactly. That view converts to a subscriber. That subscriber converts to a dopamine hit and eventually, hopefully, monetization.
The audience is the mandatory end goal.
It is. When you remove the audience from that equation, the modern internet brain assumes the creation should just stop.
Why keep going if no one's clapping?
But Erkin treats this platform as something entirely different. It really resembles the behavior of outsider artists throughout history.
Oh, I was actually just thinking about Henry Darger as I was reviewing the source material.
Yes, Darger is a prime historical parallel. For anyone who doesn't know, he was a hospital janitor in Chicago.
Kept totally to himself.
Completely. And he secretly wrote this 15,000-page, beautifully illustrated fantasy manuscript in his small apartment over decades.
And he never showed it to anyone.
Never. It was only discovered after his death. The act of world building was its own reward for him.
Wow.
He didn't need a publishing deal to validate his urge to write. And similarly, Erkin's channel seems totally untethered from that dopamine loop of algorithmic validation.
It's like a personal archive.
Or a public-facing digital diary. Or perhaps just a mandatory daily creative practice that exists entirely for his own benefit.
Which naturally leads to, the immediate cynical question.
Of course.
Because looking at this data initially, my first thought was, wait, couldn't this just be an automated bot script?
It's the most logical starting point for any digital investigator today.
Right. We see generative AI and automated scraping tools constantly flooding platforms with low-effort audio.
Just farming microscopic fractions of a cent in ad revenue.
Exactly. And the naming convention of Erkin's channel really seemed to support that suspicion at first.
With sequential count up.
Yeah. The videos are uploaded as this relentless sequence. 2 weeks ago, we see tracks starting around Techno-Jerkin 38. Then it just marches upward, file by file, all the way to Techno-Jerkin 99.
Which was uploaded just 3 hours before our data snapshot was captured.
Right. It feels like a machine methodically looping through some Python script. Like, why should we care about a bot?
But this raises an important question. If this were a script designed to game the system, why does the data show such glaring, chaotic inconsistencies?
Oh, good point. Bots don't make mistakes like this.
Exactly. Automation is defined by its flawless repetition. A script maintains a single string variable for a title prefix and just appends an integer.
It doesn't get tired.
Code doesn't get fatigued. Code doesn't suffer from a momentary lapse in concentration, unless you explicitly program it to mimic human error.
Right, which would be insanely complex for a 2-subscriber channel.
Exactly. And when you forensically examine the typography of these track titles, the bot theory completely falls apart.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because the proof of life is hiding in plain sight.
It's all in the spelling mistakes.
Yeah, if you look closely at the chronological timeline, there is this distinct shift in variables that a machine just wouldn't bother making.
Right, the spelling of techno.
Exactly. The older tracks, around 2 weeks ago, use the prefix TEKNO, Techno-Jerkin 38. Then, right around track 52, the creator suddenly shifts to the standard English spelling, TECHNO, Techno-Jerkin 52.
But the most compelling evidence really lies in the frantic, localized typos.
The QWERTY keyboard errors. I actually pulled up an image of a standard keyboard while analyzing the track list because the misspellings were so specific.
They're purely physical errors.
Yes. Like we have a track titled Techno-Jerkin 90. On a standard keyboard, the R key is sitting directly next to the T key.
Right.
Then you scroll down and see Techno-Jerkin 72. The B key is right next to the N key.
It's someone rushing.
Completely.
Yeah.
There is Techno-Jerkin 82, where the N is just skipped entirely in the rush. We even see Techno-Jerkin 49, where an H replaces the J in the DJ prefix.
And then there's track 48?
Right. On track 48, there is this sudden isolated space added into the string. Techno-DJ Erkin 48.
Those spatial relationships on the physical keyboard, they are the undeniable fingerprints of human urgency.
You can just see him typing it.
You really can reconstruct the physical environment of the creator from those errors. Someone is sitting in front of a monitor, completing a track in their digital audio workstation,
Like sporting the MP3.
dragging it into the browser window, and hammering out the title as fast as their fingers can move.
And when they hit R instead of T to spell Recno, they don't even bother hitting the backspace key.
The momentum of the creative process completely overrides the need for curatorial polish.
It paints such a vivid picture of the physical toll of creation. He just wants to hit publish and get back to the music.
The errors are basically the exhaust fumes of his passion.
Oh, I love that. The exhaust fumes. So, establishing that this is undeniably a human being, we then have to look at the sheer physical stamina required to maintain this output.
The timestamps are exhausting just to look at.
Right. The timestamps in the source document reveal a daily rhythm that is just borderline chaotic. In the final few hours of the data snapshot alone, the volume of uploads is staggering.
Let's hear the breakdown.
Okay, so track 95 is uploaded 6 hours ago. Track 96 is 5 hours ago. Tracks 97 and 98 are both 4 hours ago. And track 99 is 3 hours ago.
That is 5 individual tracks finalized and published in a single 3-hour window.
It's insane.
Stretching that math across the broader timeline of the dataset reveals a torrential downpour of content. Erkin moved from track 38 to track 99 in just 14 days.
Wow.
That averages out to more than 4 tracks every single day.
The mental bandwidth required to simply sequence, mix, and finalize that volume of audio, regardless of its underlying complexity, is a massive commitment.
It's a huge chunk of a person's finite waking hours.
And what makes that time commitment even more baffling is the sudden, unpredictable variations in the duration of the art itself.
The track lengths.
Right. Because if you're churning out 4 tracks a day, you would assume a factory line approach.
Just a standardized template.
Exactly. And for the most part, The tracks do follow a standard, easily digestible pop structure. They hover around 2 minutes and 30 seconds to roughly 3.5 minutes long.
Which makes sense for that kind of volume.
But buried inside this avalanche of standard uploads, you find these massive, towering anomalies.
The outliers in the duration data are crucial. They completely dismantle the idea that this is just a low-effort spam operation.
Yeah, look at track 98. It is suddenly 13 minutes and 59 seconds long.
And track 99, uploaded just 3 hours before the snapshot, clocks in at 12 minutes and 55 seconds.
The most fascinating anomaly to me, though, is what happened 13 days ago with track 47.
The double upload.
Yes. There are two completely different versions of Tekken track 47 uploaded on the exact same day.
Right.
One is a quick, snappy 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and the other version is an expansive 13 minutes and 31 seconds.
It's such a specific choice.
It reminds me of the dynamic of a live club DJ. You know, a DJ might start their set playing quick radio edits, keeping the transitions tight every 2 minutes to keep the floor moving. But occasionally, the mood shifts, the DJ completely ignores the traditional constraints, and they just lock in. They drop a 13-minute extended mix that builds and breathes and just refuses to end.
Birkin is essentially releasing the radio edit and the director's cut simultaneously.
Exactly.
And producing a 14-minute track requires an entirely different level of technical labor. Structuring a 3-minute loop is one thing, but arranging, mixing, and rendering 14 minutes of audio takes serious computing power and time.
You can imagine the CPU fan spinning.
Oh, absolutely. The progress bar is just creeping across the screen. Then, uploading a file of that size requires dedicated bandwidth.
It really proves he's putting the work in.
These anomalies prove that Erkin is deeply invested in the craft of experimentation. He is playing with format.
He is testing the boundaries of his own patience.
He isn't fulfilling a quota. He is exploring the outer limits of his own sound.
Which brings us to the emotional core of this entire investigation.
Yeah, the big question.
We have a human being manually typing out titles, rendering 14-minute director's cuts, and uploading 5 tracks a day to a channel with a population of 2.
Right.
So what does the external validation look like for all of this unglamorous labor? Is anybody out there in the digital darkness actually listening?
The view counts provided in the source material offer a stark and honestly somewhat melancholic reality check.
They really paint a picture of total isolation.
It's pretty heavy.
Reading down list from his most recent uploads, the repetition of the data is just, it's brutal. Track 99, no views. Track 98, no views. Track 97, no views. Track 96, no views. Track 95, no views. Track 91, no views.
Total silence.
And when a track does happen to catch a stray algorithm breeze, the numbers are microscopic. 1 view on track 94, 1 view on track 93, 5 views on track 92, 2 views on track 87.
Erkin is shouting his life's work into a digital void, and the void is responding with absolute silence.
How does someone keep going like that?
The syntology of continuing to create under those conditions is remarkable. Think about it. The vast majority of people who attempt to start a podcast, a blog, or a YouTube channel will aggressively refresh their analytics dashboard for the first 2 weeks.
Oh, guilty. We've all done it.
Exactly. And when they see a wall of no views, the psychological weight of that rejection becomes unbearable and they quit.
They view the silence as a failure of the product.
Right. But Erkin views the silence as irrelevant to the process.
And the ultimate proof of his immunity to external validation happens right in the middle of this timeline.
Yes, the anomaly.
Because he actually did experience a moment of localized virality. 13 days ago, the algorithm briefly smiled on the Desert Record Store.
Track 52.
Technojerkin 52 stands out as the statistical climax of the channel's history.
It is his biggest hit.
It is the absolute magnum opus of his engagement metrics. It sits at exactly 21 views.
21.
In the broader context of the internet, where top creators pull in tens of millions of views in an hour, 21 views is a rounding error. It is statistically 0.
But in the isolated ecosystem of Erkin's channel,
21 views is an explosion. It is more than 4 times his average traffic.
if we connect this to the bigger picture, the reaction to track 52 is the most telling behavioral data point we have.
Okay, let's look at that.
How does an isolated creator react when they finally get a microscopic taste of visibility only to have it immediately evaporate?
Right, because the data shows exactly what happened next.
Yeah.
The door opened briefly and then slammed shut. Track 53 pulled 9 views. Track 54 dropped to 7. By track 56, he was back down to 2 views. By track 60, he had returned to the baseline of a single view.
And think about how a normal creator would react. A modern, heavily optimized content creator would have stopped everything to analyze that spike.
Oh, they would have studied the metadata of track 52 for hours.
They would have A/B tested the thumbnail. They would have pivoted their entire sonic identity to replicate whatever magic brought those 21 people to the channel.
And what does Erkan do?
Nothing. He completely ignores it.
He doesn't chase the algorithmic ghost at all.
He simply keeps working. He uploads track 53, watches the views plummet, and proceeds to calmly make and upload 47 more tracks over the next 2 weeks.
That reaction is the purest distillation of an artist driven entirely by intrinsic motivation.
The upload button is not a mechanism for gathering an audience. It is simply the period at the end of the creative sentence.
Man, that is so well said.
He knows track 51 got 0 views. He lived through the brief high of track 52 getting 21 views.
Right.
And yet, knowing that the void had returned to silence, he still sat down 3 hours ago, finalized a 13-minute track, frantically typed out Techno Deer Ken 99,
And accidentally adding an extra E in his rush.
and pushed it out into the dark. It is a monumental level of dedication to the sheer act of existing and documenting that existence.
It feels almost monastic. You know, he is out there tending to a sprawling, intricate digital Zen garden, fully aware that no one will ever walk through the gates to look at it. And unpacking all of this really serves as a mirror for our own digital diets. Our daily internet experience is so heavily curated, so aggressively filtered, to only show us the loudest, most polished, most universally accepted content.
We exist in a constant state of being spoon-fed the consensus of the crowd.
We really do.
Finding a channel like this is like finding an unmapped island. It reminds us that behind all the algorithms, the internet is still populated by raw, unfiltered individuals who are creating strictly for the sake of creating.
So what does this all mean for you, the person listening right now, normally consuming the bright stars of the internet?
It completely reframes how you look at the platform.
Yeah, we started today looking at what appeared to be a boring automated list of 92 video uploads. But by treating the data like an archaeological site, we uncovered the very human heart beating beneath the screen.
We decoded the frantic, manual typos of a man racing against his own imagination.
We saw the quiet, lonely perseverance required to craft 13-minute epics for an empty room.
And we witnessed a creator who experienced the fleeting high of 21 views and simply went back to work.
Every single line of data on that spreadsheet represents a human being spending a fraction of their finite time on Earth trying to express something.
It really shifts our perspective from viewing the internet as a broadcast network, to viewing it as a massive repository of human effort, much of which will remain forever undiscovered.
So, the next time you are scrolling through your algorithmic, highly produced, flawlessly edited content feeds, take a second to pause.
Just think about the sheer volume of what you aren't seeing.
Remember that beneath all those bright, flashing billboards, there is a vast universe of digital dark matter. There are millions of creators out there, exactly like Erkan, sitting in the dark, happily shouting their techno tracks into the void. They are out there right now hitting upload, completely unbothered by whether you ever press play.
Leaving us with a fascinating paradox to consider.
What's that?
As the internet becomes increasingly crowded and the barrier to entry for content creation drops basically to zero, are platforms like YouTube actually the public town squares we originally envisioned?
Or are they slowly transitioning into massive, decentralized private diaries?
Exactly. Perhaps millions of people are using these video platforms simply to leave a time-stamped record in the digital bedrock that says, I was here, I existed, and I made something today.
In an era that is completely obsessed with going viral, what if the absolute purest form of internet art is the art that absolutely no one is watching?
A digital monument built for an audience of none.
Incredible. Well, something for you to think about next time you load up a video. Until next time.